Hello my beautiful people, it's your girl here, Genevieve, and before we say something, I'm here to thank you all for my returning viewers and all my subscribers. Thank you very much, and please don't get tired of viewing the videos and subscribing. That's how I also gain. Thank you and welcome again to our today's lesson, which was, I'm continuing on that part of the teacher's tools of work. Last time we looked at the schemes of work. So today we are going to look at a lesson plan. Remember, we had the schemes of work, which had how many columns? We had a week, lesson, strand, substrand, specific learning outcomes, key inquiry questions, learning and teaching experience, learning resources, assessment methods, then reflection. But now for a lesson plan it is derived. The lesson plan is derived from schemes of work. They work hand in hand. So you must have a schemes of work for you to have a lesson plan. So for example, in our today's, we are going to look for a lesson plan for English. You know, this one is a tool that you have to go with it in class. As schemes, you can leave it behind, but for a lesson plan, you must go to it to class. It's done daily, on a daily basis for every lesson. If you have, for example, 10 lessons, you have to make 10 lesson plans for the different lessons you have in a day. It's done daily. So a teacher prepares, maybe, like, if I'm going to teach tomorrow, of course I know my lessons using the timetable, so I can make the lesson plan today. That is for tomorrow. I prepare myself for tomorrow, because when you come in the morning, you may not have that ample time to prepare adequately, because you have to use these resources, check, compare your notes. So you have to make it prior so that you can use it and it can be effective. So today in our lesson, I will also go through what we have in our lesson plan. Here it is, and we see kudos to the Kenyan government. Those who don't know where I am, I'm in East Africa, Kenya as a country. That's where I am, in Kenya, East Africa. So we have in our lesson plan, we have this. This is a lesson plan. The government brings this book, the teacher preparation books. This is it for a lesson plan. Remember, we had that one for schemes, but this one is now for a lesson plan. You can see teacher's preparation book. Now, inside you find something like this. So then you start filling in. You write, preparing for your lesson. You have lesson plan. First, you'll write the learning area. If it's English, you note there English. The grade, you note there it's grade 6, grade 4, grade 1. You note there. Then the date you are teaching the lesson, you also note there. And the time you are going to teach that lesson, you also know. Then the enrollment for the children. And, and here is the teacher. The English teacher is behind me. Welcome, Teacher Winnie. We have the roll call of the children in that stream, in that class. If there are 30, you know there how many children are going to be in your take part in your lesson. Then, just like the schemes of work, also the lesson plan has the strand. What are the topic you are going to talk about? That is, here we were doing writing, and in writing we were looking at pronouns. Then the substrand, which is the subtopic, we have the pronouns still, because we are talking about the pronouns there. Then we have the specific learning outcome. As I told you in the schemes of work, these are the objectives. Every lesson should have an objective. You can see here, by the end of the lesson, the learner should be able, what do you expect your learners to do to have achieved after your lesson? For here, I had to tell what is a pronoun, then to give examples of a pronoun, then construct sentences using a pronoun. Remember here we were not specifying which pronouns we were looking at. It was just in general. The learner is now getting to know for the first time what is a pronoun before you break down to the various types of pronouns you have. So this was the objective of the lesson. Then we have the key inquiry. As you saw also in our schemes of work, we have the key inquiry questions. Even in the lesson plan, we have the same, the key inquiry questions. Like for here, I asked myself, what is a pronoun? You know, you ask yourself questions also before you go to that lesson. And these are questions that will lead you to achieve your objective. Then give examples. Can you give examples of pronoun? These are some of the questions that will also guide you to deliver appropriately in your lesson. Then we have the core competence to be developed. What do these pronouns, what is the child going to develop? What are these competences, the core competences that you want the learner is going to develop? At the end of the day, it's geared towards the learner, the character of the learner, the whole being, the holistic, this child. What is this child gaining at the end of the day? And how is it going to benefit or help this child in his or her daily work? We have this communication and collaboration. Through this, a learner will be able to communicate well and interact well with other learners through asking questions, answering the questions when thinking, this critical thinking. We have also the citizenship, digital literacy, self-efficacy. These are some of the core competencies a learner is going to develop during this lesson. Then we have links to pertinent and contemporary issues. We have here, I wrote, life skills and value education, community service, learning, and parent involvement. These are some of the links of pertinent contemporary issues. Then we have links to values. What will be linked to these values the learner is going to get? We have the learner will be able to be responsible, to love, to respect. Through the lessons, that teacher is a holistic person. Teaching, well, it's a noble job. It's a call that we chose, and we have to deliver it. Then we have the next one, teaching or learning resources. In your lesson, what will you use? You know, these are learners. They learn as they see. What they see sinks very well into them. So for here, there was their learner's book. Of course, you can use it as a resource. Then also you can make a chart having written these pronouns and the sentences. Then you can also use examples of the key children themselves and the really thing. So it sinks well in them and they cannot forget about it. Then we have suggested teaching or learning experiences. Now we have the first one is introduction. How you start your lesson. How are you going to start your lesson? First, you can start by maybe reviewing your previous lesson for you to introduce this new one. You can first review what you learned in the previous lesson. Maybe this is Tuesday. So you can review what you learned on Monday before you introduce this other one, because it just goes hand in hand. If you are doing writing, maybe yesterday you are doing vocabulary, you are doing maybe about the pronouns. So today you are going to write about it, the sentences. Now you have to link and first let them remember what they did yesterday before beginning a new topic. That's how you can introduce your lesson. Or you can introduce your lesson by beginning by asking a question. Ask the learners a question that will probe them. Then now when you start the entire, they say, oh, that's why the teacher asked us this. So this is what she or he was intending to teach. You can start that by asking a question or asking them to give an example of something. Then later you lead them. Later they will learn, oh, this is what the teacher really wanted. Then two, exploration or stroke learn lesson development. Now here is the main thing, steps in your lesson. The steps you are going to take while you start. First, you can start by giving. You can give because they don't know. You can first explain to them. Explain to them what is a pronoun or define to them what is a pronoun. After that, after defining, I know the kids are very bright. They will start giving you examples of pronouns from there, from your definition, and that's how they will get to sink into the lesson. That's how the step number one. After now telling them what a pronoun is, they will give you various examples of pronouns. You can now go ahead and construct sentences using those pronouns you have given, and that's how you develop your lesson. Then later we have the reflection. Here, learners to explain what a pronoun means and give examples of pronoun. Reflecting is just like reviewing the lesson, what you have learned, what if they can remember what the teacher really said and what the examples the teacher gave. That is it. Then extension, the last one is extension. Extension here is just giving an exercise. You can give an exercise to the learners to see if really what you are teaching, they really understood it. Like here now in our lesson we are writing, so you can tell them to write even 5 sentences or 3 sentences using a pronoun. That's how you get to know if what you taught really sank into them. And lastly we have always, like in the schemes also, we have suggested parental involvement activities of the community. Yes, how they come in. How can they use these pronouns outside the classroom? You know, at the end of the day, learning should mold a learner, not only class-oriented, but even outside. The outside, how this child is going to cope with the society out there. This is now the importance of what? Of learning. So that is the end, and the end of it completely self-evaluation. Just as the reflection, this is self-evaluation, means your remarks at the end of the lesson. Was it a success? Did the learners, were your objectives that you asked yourself here, were they attained? Now, that is what now we call self-evaluation. You ask yourself questions. If it was the objectives were achieved, you'll write here objectives were achieved. And if it was not achieved, maybe they didn't understand, maybe you taught and only a quarter of the class understood through your when you were trying to assess them, you found that 3/4 did understand, then that was not a success. So you have to say here it wasn't achieved. And then how do you plan to do now for them to understand? You can come in and say you'll have a remedial lesson for that, or you'll get a resource person, somebody who understands better the topic. Maybe it was not well understood by you, so that somebody can come and do it for you again. That is it for our lesson today. We are talking about a lesson plan. It's tool number 2 for teachers preparation tool. Thank you. Be blessed, and please don't skip that dial. Don't miss to subscribe. Please, I appeal to you, subscribe, share, and watch the videos full. Don't skip. Thank you. Be blessed.